Thank you. Can you hear me okay? This is okay? So first of all, I'll say that Omid and I did not coordinate our talks, but I am going to talk a little bit about belonging, and I am going to talk a little bit about career potentials and careers that people don't think that they can actually have. And I'm one of those people. So let's start with this. If this Star Trek poster had been in that room that Omid was talking about, what kind of belonging metrics might have come up for African American or just Black, biracial, whatever, BIPOC women? A little bit different, huh? Different Star Trek poster. Same show, same kind of thing. So this is my superhero. This is Lieutenant Uhura. I grew up as a little girl sitting on my father's lap on the weekends and watching tons of Star Trek. Star Trek was like the thing, right? So not Star Wars, they're different, Star Trek. And one of the reasons that Lieutenant Uhura was my hero is because we've said this over and over again in the last 2 days, you can't be what you can't see, right? This is a woman, a Black woman in space. She's part of the commander's brig. She's got a big, important job, and she looks so good in that outfit. And so for me as a little girl, this was my kind of idea of what the potential of the world could be. I could go to space. I could be an executive. I could be on the commander's ship and on the commander's brig. I could be in charge of something. Unfortunately, back to this idea of belonging and back to this idea of what you see is what you can be. I launched into a program. There was a program at my local naval air station that taught kids how to fly. It was all about teaching kids how to fly. First step to go into space, right? Is to learn how to fly. So I was super excited. I wanted to be a part of this program so badly, probably 7th or 8th grade. And they wouldn't let me in. Why? Because that program at the time, I'm giving away my age, was sponsored by the Boy Scouts. And girls were not allowed to be a part of Civil Air Patrol, was the name of the program. And so I was completely discouraged from going into space. My second kind of fallback time was when I was in high school, advanced STEM. I was going to a magnet school. I was really, really a space nerd, guys. I'm not joking, right? And so I was in a advanced math class, and I had one of those teachers that didn't give me appropriate feedback. And basically, without saying so, said that because I was a girl and because I was Black, STEM was probably not the place for me, right? So another place where I didn't feel like I belonged. I go to college. They convinced me to do law, which they convince all women of color with big mouths to do. And so I go into law and go to San Francisco at a time where there is the first kind of internet boom. And I'm supposed to be studying for the LSAT, and I'm supposed to be saving up my money and finding my grants so that I can go to law school, and instead, space starts calling me again, right? And I find out that I can be a good generalist in any kind of technical environment, right? Because I've got the bandwidth from the humanities side, but I love this whole STEM thing. I'm intrigued by it. And so that's what I started to do. I spent met a lot of time also in education, kind of going between them, right? So we say ed tech and tech ed. So Martha and I just realized we know each other. I used to work for the University of California. I used to track STEM programs. I did everything I could to make sure that little girls like Kim felt like they belonged in space. And I think we're in a different time. Space may not be calling anymore, but we're in this time of AI. So I'm sure all of you have seen the news. I'm sure all of you know all of the things about AI. And I've been in AI actually for a really long time. So after the University of California, I actually went to IBM. I was asked to lead an initiative to use AI to create personalized learning, so teacher companions. We're talking about AI for good. I know you hear a lot of the Skynet stories. I know you hear a lot of the stories about bias. We're going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about that from little Kim's optimistic, space-facing way. So I hope that's okay with all of you. So first is, what can AI do for us? As I just talked about, at IBM, we were creating personalized teaching companions. There's a lot of talk today about how AI is going to take jobs away, but there's also a lot of talk about people where we have labor shortages, teachers, nurses. To me, that's like a duh moment. I actually go, well, yeah, if there's a place where jobs need to be created, or we need more capacity to do jobs, and we have something that actually could take some of the load away, why aren't we making that connection? Why is it so hard to make that connection? And so personalized learning and skills development is the area that I first got into when I got into AI. And it's really about how we can take the systems of today, the data of today, expand their capacity. At IBM, we were building a teacher companion. Why? Because we all know teachers have 30, 45 kids in their classrooms today. And how do I, know that you are getting the kind of education that you need that's personalized to you? I don't have time for that. But if I had something in the background, if I had my own Jarvis, my own like mini companion that could say to me, Psst, Kim really likes space, and she doesn't feel like she's good at math, but she actually is good at math, then maybe me as the teacher might have more capacity to create something to keep you engaged, to make you feel like you belong, to give you the right kinds of feedback that you need. Another thing that's really cool for me is this idea of smart job matching. So not a lot of people know that, they know that we're using AI in order to filter through resumes, et cetera, et cetera. What they don't know is that what the AI has actually been able to do is to identify people that don't think they're skilled in a particular area and say they actually have the skills for this particular area. And a lot of times those are higher paying jobs. So I was just at Afrotech, which is a 25,000 member giant thing in Austin. It's been going on for a couple of years. It's basically employment matching for BIPOC folks in tech, in tech careers, and a huge community build. I mean, talk about the atmosphere of feeling like you belong. A great place to be. I talked to lots of engineers. I talked to lots of product managers. I talked to lots of people and said, what's the new hot thing? I mean, obviously it's AI, but what does that mean? And everyone, not one person didn't say to me, the hottest new programming language, Kim, is English. We're leveling the playing field. With prompt engineering, which is how you work with the AI. So if you know something about like ChatGPT, you give it a sentence. You say, hey, do this for me, right? You're actually taking away some of the barriers to entry for some of the highest paying jobs that exist. You're allowing your kids, the kids that you work with every day, to have humanities degrees and to make $335,000 a year. That's the typical salary for a prompt engineer, by the way. $335,000 a year for English to interact with an AI model. So what could you do with that? That's huge. That's a huge opportunity for people who didn't have an opportunity before or thought they didn't have an opportunity before. And then last is really about performance optimization and feedback. So this is why I say we didn't talk, but it feels like we talked, huh? Right now, we do kind of performance optimization and feedback models in jobs in a very kind of old way. Quarterly, you might get a quarterly review, you might get an annual review, but you're not getting immediate feedback when you're doing the skill right then, and you're not getting recommendations for learnings or recommendations for curriculum on how you can enhance your performance. AI can do that. IBM has a system right now that they're using for their performance feedback for all of their employees. And the AI found that if they gave a specific group of people a 3% raise, it increased the chance that those people would stay with IBM by 90%. So if you can't get to, to intellectually or morally get people to agree to use these kinds of systems, financially always works. Trust me, I've worked for them. Financially always works. Hit them in the pockets, right? And so getting people to have kind of immediate feedback on their skills and things that they can develop is an amazing thing. One of the things that I tell everybody that I meet is to, one of my biggest kind of hacks with ChatGPT, and all of you can do this, is if I want to learn something new, I ask the AI to give me a curriculum. Does a great job, right? Here's what I know. I know a little bit about, I want to learn how to play the guitar. I know how to read music. I play a couple other C instruments, but I don't really know anything about string instruments. And ChatGPT can pull out for me a curriculum, step by step, lesson by lesson, to help me learn the guitar. So definitely using AI can enhance our humanity, our creativity, our ability to learn skills and develop ourselves, our abilities to get jobs that we couldn't get before. But, like I said, we're not going to talk about all the great stuff. We're also going to talk about some of the bad stuff. We're not there yet. So, this is Carson. He may look a little familiar, but maybe not. Carson is a senior at the University of California, Berkeley. He is a math major, and he recently also went to Afrotech. Now, one of the great things about Afrotech is when you first register for it, they ask you to upload a resume and a photo of yourself, a professional photo of yourself, so that you can be found by all the recruiters that are there and all the HR folks that are there, and they can have conversations with you about potential opportunities. So Carson did this. He may know some people in AI, so he said, what can I use to help me make a professional headshot? I don't have a professional headshot. And the people responded, hey, well, there are several applications out there today where you can just upload a selfie and the selfie will create a professional headshot for you. So Carson did that. Prompt 1. The AI straightened Carson's hair. It was not sure of his race, and so it decided what his race was for him. So Carson goes back and says, well, that's not it. I don't have straight hair. And went back to the AI and prompted it again and said, this time, give me an African-American professional photo of myself. I identify as African-American. This is what the AI gave him. So I disclaimer, Carson's my son. We had many conversations about this. We laughed about this a very lot. But this gives me some things to talk to all of you about, and some things that you need to talk to all of your students about, and all of the people you work with about. There used to be an old thing we said in databases, garbage in, garbage out. Does anybody remember that? Right? Bad information, if you put it into the database, then it's always going to spit out bad information. Well, we're having a lot of issues with bias. This is coming up a lot, over and over and over and over and over again. But what also is coming up a lot is that BIPOC people and women in particular won't use AI because they're scared of it. So you can see what the conundrum is here, right? If we don't use it, then we're not feeding the model. There's no data that represents who we are in the model. And it's like this vicious cycle, right? And so it spits out bad stuff, and we go, well, that's why I don't want to use it. And then we go on and on and on and on again. The only way that we can ensure that AI is representing us as a humanity and really deal with the bias that we see in these AI models is to use these AI models. And so I became a huge evangelizer of that. I left IBM in 2020 in the midst of the racial reckoning in America. And sat with myself for a while and thought about what I needed to do to create a sense of belonging, what I needed to do to create people that weren't afraid of AI. I thought, oh my gosh, there's so much potential here. This is so cool. This has the opportunity. There's a $15 billion opportunity here for people to grab a hold of, people that couldn't grab a hold of it before. To uplift our humanity, to actually do things that are better for the world, we have the technology to do it. And so I started thinking about what it was that I could create with the technology to create that sense. And so what I will show you now is what we decided to create at Parallax Futures. Hopefully this video will go.
Welcome. As a Parallax Futures Fellow, you will enter the program surrounded by practitioners from diverse backgrounds, all coming together to learn conceptual thinking. Think of conceptual thinking as a tool that helps you see things from different perspectives by unlocking new thought spaces to open up new ideas and possibilities you may not have been aware of before. These new spaces of possibility will allow you to truly think differently and approach technology in a completely new way. Our program encourages play, exploration, freedom of thought, so that you can discover future forward ideas to create and build from new perspectives for a better world.
The point here is that we can use the technology and we can use our values to create new things. And my challenge to all of you is to do exactly that. So I created Parallax Futures as a way to bring more diverse folks into the field of AI, to look at it in a different way, to look at it as a tool to uplift communities, to build communities, to level the playing field, and to show you that you actually do belong in technology, in AI. Not only do you belong, but we need you. It's really imperative that we have you. And so my mandate now is to go out and find folks that aren't scared to do some hard work in order for us to become better humans. And so challenge to all of you is, one, use the AI. Go out. There's a million tools out there. Some of them are free. A lot of them are free. Use them. Use them. Play with them. Definitely get to know them. If you want to be a painter and you don't know how to paint, you could go to something called Midjourney, and you could say, I have this idea for this piece of artwork. Maybe it's a little Picasso-ish, or maybe it looks a little bit like this person, and the idea is this. And the AI will actually create the painting for you. Go and use ChatGPT in the way that I do. Make a curriculum for yourself. Make an itinerary for you if you're going on a trip. There are tons of ways that we can interact and have this become much more of a part of how we do our day-to-day operations. Don't be afraid. The only thing to be afraid of is if you're not in the room creating the AI. Second is to encourage folks and educate folks about exactly this stuff. So, it's not enough for all of you, although you're all lovely, to be using the AI. We want everyone using the AI. I want everyone, in my head, everyone should be using this, right? Everyone, the more people we have at the table, the more people that are in the pool, the better the party is. That's the way it always works, right? And so if we want people to have tools that are actually going to make them better people and better humans, then we need to encourage each other to use it. There is a new Black GPT, just in case anybody has not heard. It came out last week. I'm not sure if it's free, but I can give you more information if anyone's interested in that. And it's an AI model that's built on all the Black culture. If somebody hadn't been using AI, we wouldn't have Black GPT. Just saying. And the last thing is to open your mind to new possibilities with AI. So I love this. One session that I went to when I was at Afrotech last week was with the producer Timbaland. And somebody actually asked him about AI, and they said, do you think it's going to replace you as a producer? And he said, no. But what I do think is that a producer using it will. So, what jobs can we create? What things could we create? What ways could we create applications to help your students? What could they create? That's really interesting to me, right? That's going to change the game. That's going to expand the way that we think about things. It's going to expand the way that our world works, and actually make the world a better place. Maybe get Kim into space after all. Little selfish. That's what I have for you.
We have time for a couple of questions. If anyone has them for Kim, I will come over to you.
Thank you for that presentation. I'm John. I'm from Toledo. So two things. One, shout out to Afrotech. One of my buddies, Will Lucas, is a good friend of mine. So here's the question. You give like 2 or 3 things to get students who are disconnected in some ways from tech in various forms. So everybody uses a phone, but using a phone is not the same as digging into this type of technology. So can you use 2 or 3 ways that allows for us to know how to encourage our students to do that, and then also take it from the lens of parents who are also involved in that, because we do a 2-gen program. So the parents are probably more afraid than their students are to dig into that space.
That's the truth. Yeah, so one thing is talking about the phones. So Edge AI is here. It's already been here. Most of these applications do have phone applications to them. And I know that that's a really easy way for students to get involved with AI. Midjourney, for example, I have a younger son, who's actually really into fashion and also into Harry Potter. And there's this really cool TikTok that's all about using Midjourney to create like urban wear for the different houses in Harry Potter. And so there are real examples of things that kids are interested in, that they can see on their phone, that they can do on their phone, that will help them engage with the AI. Parents are a little different. I want to say one of the downfalls of our personalized education was the parents, and their fears around what AI could do or might do. And so I know that struggle real well. I can give you my thoughts about it as a parent, which may be a little bit different, but I am a product of the internet age. The internet was new when I went to college, like new. And I remember my professors saying to me that I couldn't use it to write papers, right? I had to go to the library, right? And so my son, who's in college, Carson, that you saw up there on the screen, Carson actually said, "Mom, what do you think about me using ChatGPT to help me with my papers?" And at first I said, no, that's cheating. And then I thought about my experience in the 90s, and I thought, oh, somebody told me that was cheating too. And I wonder if they hadn't, what I might have been able to do with the tech today. And so I said, I'm going to revise that answer. And I'm going to revise that answer, and I'm going to say this. I think it's okay to use it to write a draft. This was our agreement, right? To start a draft. You don't know where to begin. You can actually ask ChatGPT like a question and say, hey, I got to write a paper on Aladdin and its social implications. Give me some examples of the social implications that are in Aladdin. And the ChatGPT can split that out for you or help you with an outline. I think there's an expansive part here for a lot of kids that we're not utilizing or thinking about. And then again, with the parents, I think the other thing to talk about is that garbage in and garbage out, right? So I think a lot of parents are scared of the bias, right? They're scared that what they're fed up, what the AI actually spits out is not representative. And I think that's a lot about our education of them as parents. It is new, and it is kind of scary. Anything that's new is kind of scary. But it is also pervasive. So AI is marked to be in every single industry we have in the next 20 years. Whether it's automating something or expanding something. I went to a session that was actually quite good with a number of lawyers who are excited for AI because of doc review. They don't have to do doc review. They can feed it to the AI, and the AI can do it for them, so they can do the strategic part of their job that they really like. So there's an imagination that we have to have. We have to really re-envision what jobs look like. That's one of the reasons we created a new job in my organization. I'm trying to create roles. Instead of focusing on the taking away of roles, let's make new roles. And so if you didn't have to do XYZ technical part of your job, if you didn't have to do doc review, what could you do instead? How might you use that time? I'm an optimist, so I think as people, we're going to do something good with that time. Or I would hope that we would. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kim. Everyone give Kim a round of applause. This is not the end of the conversation about AI.